the second 45 was a lot better. I think we we were much more composed on the ball than we'd been in the first half. There was, like I say, I think once we got frustrated that we weren't creating clear chances, we hadn't converted the possession into a goal early on. We resorted to long balls, and that just clearly wasn't getting us anywhere. And I do think as well in the second half, I don't want to be mean to Saunders, but I do think the bringing on Hawks and changing the system, even though it meant not having a recognised striker on the pitch, did really sort of work in our favour. I know it was 1-1 by the time that substitution happened, but I think we had our best spell really in terms of sort of pinning them back was that sort of last 30 minutes of the game when Hawks came on. We moved it around a bit, and I think with Saunders there is the temptation to sort of, lump it to the channels, or to sort of put it over the top and hope that he can like hound down the goalkeeper, or he can harry a defender into a mistake. Once he's gone, we had to sort of try and play a bit differently, and I think that did work in our favour. You saw as soon as Hawks comes on, we start moving the ball, sort of the sort of nice little passes to pay with quick passes, and there were two immediate chances for, I think, pretty much Hawks' first touch could have been a goal, really good save from the keeper. And then after that, literally a minute later, I think it was, he had another chance. So he genuinely saw two goal scoring chances in the space of 2 minutes, and him coming on really sort of added impetus. And Hawks was sort of an interesting one, isn't it? Because we've seen, top scorer last year. We've seen, so it was today was the 30 minutes that he got was the most that we've seen of him in a really long time. So it was nice to see him come on and sort of help change the game in that way. But at the same time, we saw both sides of him insofar as he was that attacking threat when he came on. But then there was also times where he was sort of, dangerously lackadaisical and uncommitted, doing the defensive stuff in our half that a couple of times could have been costly. So, good to see him back, but hasn't, not a whole new Josh Hawks just yet.
But I suspect we might see a little bit more of him. I did see a maybe ill-timed tweet from Paul Ritchie at some point this afternoon that just said Nigel Atkins really doesn't fancy Josh Hawks, does he? And Josh Hawks came on and played a pivotal role in Tranmere winning the game. And, win the game they did. The second goal, as soon as it went in, did you ever have any doubt that Tranmere were going to hold on from that point? It looked to me like Swindon was spent.
Well, it was a tricky one because we got the goal, and I think you'd probably say at that point we deserved it, but then we were then sort of set up to protect the win and got pretty lucky. Really, there was the interesting sub and tactical switch with Yanni for O'Connor and going to the 3-5-2 and dropping Jennings back, swapping more, and but then that involves Morris going to wing back, which I'm never a fan of, and then twice in the last 10 minutes there was a handball in the box from Morris, which it looked to me on first viewing a blatant handball, and again when I saw it on the replay, it still looked like a handball. So I think we were very, very lucky to get away with that one, and it's one that had that been at the other end, we'd all be screaming about it. And then there was a disallowed goal on 85 where the man gets in behind Morris. It's not his fault. He's not a right wing back, but the man gets in behind him, and we were saved by the assistant flag. The goal was disallowed, and from the replay I still couldn't see whether it was actually offside. We'd need to ask someone who was in the ground and sort of in line with it. But for such a poor team, to be playing such a poor team and to be having to look back on getting away with the penalty that should have been, and being grateful for an assistant's flag, I think it sort of shows that there's plenty to work on. And then I think, again, it's sort of a measure of where we are, that as early as I say early, but the 89th minute, we're trying to keep the ball in the corner to sort of see out the win, knowing full well that there's going to be, I think there were 6 minutes of added time indicated. I think we then played into the 7th or 8th because of what happened with the goalkeeper. But to be sort of keeping the ball in the corner with knowing that there's that long left, I thought was interesting. But at the same time, once we got to sort of the 94th, 95th minute, which we did relatively comfortably, I thought Connor Jennings did a really fantastic job of just, there was that period where he was in the corner, won a throw in, won another throw in, won a corner, won another throw in, just keeping the ball, and that sort of that game management part of it was really, really good to see. And again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, the sort of thing that we weren't seeing earlier in the season. So yeah, once we went ahead, I wouldn't say I was convinced that we were going to see it through. But yeah, I think on balance, we probably did deserve it.